Okay, good morning class.
Good morning, sir.
How are you today?
Great, sir.
Okay, to start the day, let us pray first. May I call on Princess Laika to lead us a prayer?
Yes, sir.
Let us all stand.
Let's bow our head and let's pray. Father God, come be with us today. Fill our hearts with joy. Fill our minds with learning. Fill our classroom with peace. Fill our lesson with fun. Fill our friendship with kindness. Fill our school with love. Amen.
Okay, thank you, Princess Laika. And now for the attendance, let us check your attendance for today. But I will be going to call you one by one and say present if you are present. Ellis Danaila,
Present, sir.
Mark,
Present, sir.
John Albert,
Present, sir.
J. Mark,
Present, sir.
Princess Laika,
Present, sir.
and Denise A. Desel. Okay, seems like all of you are present today. Very good, class. Now, before we start, I want you to be reminded in our class rules. I will read the first one. The first one, respond actively. When I say class, you respond yes. Okay, let's have a try. Class,
Yes.
class.
Yes.
Okay, very good, class. So, let us have a short review to our previous lesson last meeting. Who would like to tell us our topic yesterday? Anyone?
Sir,
Yes, Princess Laika.
our topic yesterday is all about the properties of waves.
Okay, very good. Now, let's have an activity. So, I have a game for you for today. And who wants to read the direction on the television? Anyone?
Sir,
Any other hand?
Sir,
Yes, John Albert.
number 1. You are given a set of jumbled letters. Number 2. There will be a guide question for you to be able to guess the word. Number 3. You can send your answers in the in-call messages. 4. You are given 15 seconds to answer.
Okay. Instead of sending your answers in the in-call messages, you just can raise your hand and I will call you then answer the question. Are you ready, class?
yes,
Yes,
sir.
For the first word, it is a disturbance in space. Yes, Alice Danaila.
Wave, sir.
Very good. Another. It is the highest point in a wave.
Sir,
Yes, J. Mark.
yes, sir.
Very good. Exactly. The answer, the highest point in the wave is called crest. Now, it is the lowest point in a wave. Yes, trough. Very good. You must pronounce that word as trough. What is trough? It is the lowest point in a wave. Kung kanina, the highest point is the crest, and now the lowest point is called the trough. Yeah. Now next, it is the distance between two successive identical parts of a wave. Anyone, class?
Sir.
Yes, princess.
Wavelength.
Let's see if your answer is correct. Yes. The distance between two successive identical parts of a wave is called the wavelength. So, based on our picture, from crest to crest, you call that as wavelength. From trough to trough, you call it also as wavelength. Understand, class?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Next. It refers to the number of waves produced in 1 second.
Sir.
Yes, Princess.
Frequency.
Let us see if your answer is correct. Yes. Frequency refers to the number of waves produced in 1 second. How is that? Frequency is the number of waves per second. You count how many waves are there in 1 second. For example, this is for 1 second. How many waves are there? 1, 2. So there are 2 waves in 1 second. So that is what we call the frequency. How about this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So how many are there? 11 waves in 1 second. That is what we call frequency, the number of waves per second. Okay. Since all of you performed well in our first activity of the day, because of that, you deserve a barangay clap. Let us all clap. Okay, class? Remember those words, class, because we will be going to use those terminologies in our lesson for today. So, our lesson for today is all about the different forms of electromagnetic waves. Based on the activity that we had, what do you think is our lesson for today? Yes, John Albert.
I think our lesson for today has something to do with waves.
Yes, exactly. Our lesson for today has something to do with the different forms of EM waves or electromagnetic waves. So, in this lesson, we will be going to tackle about electromagnetic waves, electromagnetic spectrum, the frequency, and the wavelength. You might wonder once in your daily life when you heard the word electromagnetic waves. What are EM waves? Are they helpful or are they dangerous? Maybe this lesson I can give you the answer. But first, let me introduce to you what is electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, who would like to read the content of the slide? Anyone, class? Yes, Elise Danayla.
Electromagnetic spectrum. The continuous series of electromagnetic waves in order of wavelength or frequency.
So based on our slide, electromagnetic spectrum is the continuous series of electromagnetic waves. So here is the example of electromagnetic spectrum. It shows the relative wavelength, the approximate scale of wavelength, the relative size of each wave, and the frequency and also the temperature of every electromagnetic wave. So understand, class? I will teach you how to easily memorize the electromagnetic spectrum. So what are the contents of the electromagnetic spectrum? You have to remember this, class. R, Mivux, G. Everyone say R, Mivux, G.
G.
Okay, what does that acronym stands for? R is for radio waves. M is for microwaves. I is for infrared. V is for visible light. U R for ultraviolet. X is for X-ray. And G is for gamma rays. So just remember, for you to remember the electromagnetic spectrum, remember the term R, Mivux, G. R,
For
radio
radio
waves.
waves. M for microwaves. I for infrared. V for visible light. U for ultraviolet. X for X-ray. G for gamma rays.
Okay, very good class. Precisely. how you memorize the electromagnetic spectrum. Remember that class before because we will be going to have an activity on that later. So, how does the electromagnetic spectrum looks? So, this is how it looks. Electromagnetic spectrum is the continuous series of electromagnetic waves in order of wavelength or of a frequency. So let us first focus on the wavelength. So, kanina, we have tackled that wavelength is the distance between the 2 points of the wave. What are these 2 points? The crest and the trough. The distance between crest to crest or trough to trough is called the wavelength. Okay, now let's focus on the wavelength. Radio waves are 10 to the raise of 3. Microwaves are 10 raised to negative 2. Infrared are 10 raised to negative 5. Visible lights are 0.5 times 10 raised to negative 6. Ultraviolet are 10 to raised to negative 8. X-rays are 10 raised to negative 10. And gamma rays are 10 raised to negative 12. What have you observed, class? Observe what happens to the wavelength as they progress from left to right. Which is higher, 3 or negative 2?
3.
Which is higher, negative 2 or negative 5?
Negative 5.
No, negative 2. So, as we progress from left to right, wavelength is increasing or decreasing? Yes, because from 3 to negative 12. That's how we describe the wavelength of every electromagnetic spectrum. So let's have an example of how long are those electromagnetic waves. So radio waves are as tall as buildings. Na-imagine nyo ba yung class na yung radio waves pala ay kasing haba ng buildings? So, how about microwaves? Microwaves are between the size of humans and butterflies. How about infrared? Needle point. As tiny as needle point. How about the wavelength of visible light? Yes, they are as tiny as protozoans. How about ultraviolet rays?
Molecules.
Yes, as tiny as molecules. They are microscopic. You can see them with your eyes. But you can see those things in a microscope. How about X-ray? How long are the wavelength of the X-rays? Just like atoms. And gamma rays are just like atomic nuclei. So, imagine class, wavelength from left to right is decreasing. Paliit siya ng paliit. From building, naging atomic nuclear na lang. Kung nakikita mo pa yung building hanggang sa visible lights, yung ultraviolet lights and gamma rays ay hindi mo na makita sa sobrang liit na ng wavelength ito. Okay. Do you understand, class? Yes. Remember, the wavelength of the electromagnetic waves from left to right is decreasing. Now, let's have an activity. Okay. Who would like to read the direction of our first exercise? Anyone from the class? Yes, John Albert.
Choose which one has the longer wavelength. Type the letter of your answer in the info messages.
Okay, choose between A or B. Remember, I have teach you how to remember the electromagnetic waves, which is the R, Nivux, G. Now, we are talking about wavelength, and wavelength is decreasing from left to right. So, choose between A and B. Who between the choices, which one has the longer wavelength? For number 1, between ultraviolet and infrared, which has longer wavelength? Ultraviolet or infrared? Anyone, class? Raise your hand if you want to answer. Yes, Jamie.
Ultraviolet, sir.
Yes, you're right. Ultraviolet has longer wavelength than infrared. Okay, how about number 2? Between microwave and gamma ray, which one has the longer wavelength? Yes, Dennis. Yes, microwave. Where can we see in the electromagnetic spectrum the microwave? From left or to the right? Where?
Right. I left.
Left. Remember that, guys. So, Dennis Ann is correct. How about number 3? Which has longer wavelength? Visible light or X-ray? Yes, Alice Danila.
Visible light.
Yes, visible light. You're right. Visible light has longer wavelength than X-ray. Now, number 4. Between gamma ray and X-ray. Anyone? Yes, Princess?
X-ray.
X-ray. Yes, that's right. Because the shortest wavelength is the gamma ray. Okay. For number 5, between infrared and microwave. Yes, Mark. Yes, you're right. Microwave has the longer wavelength. Just like in number 2. Because where can we find again microwave? Left or right? Left. Which has longer wavelength? The left or the right? Yes, remember that. Left. Left side of the electromagnetic wave has longer wavelength than those electromagnetic waves on the right side. Now, very good, class. You deserve another clap. Okay, we are done with the wavelength of those electromagnetic waves. Now we are now focusing on the frequency. What again is the frequency? The number of waves in 1 second. Okay, let's have a try to understand what is the trend of the frequency of those electromagnetic waves. Okay, observe what happens to the frequency as they progress from left to right again. Okay, from this picture, here is the frequency of the electromagnetic waves. Observe what happens to the frequency. The frequency of radio waves are 10 raised to
4.
4. How about the microwave?
10 raised to 8.
How about the infrared?
10 raised to 12.
How about the visible light?
10 raised to 15.
How about the ultraviolet?
10 raised to 16.
And how about the X-ray?
10 raised to 18.
And how about the gamma ray?
10 raised to 20.
What have you observed to the number of frequency in each electromagnetic wave? We can observe that from radio waves 4 up to microwave, it becomes 8. So, is it increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing. Very good, Alice. How about microwave from infrared? Is it increasing or decreasing? Increasing because it is from 8 to 12. And how about visible light to ultraviolet?
Increasing.
Increasing. Oh, how about X-ray to microwave? Decreasing, because X-ray is 18 and microwave is just 4. So there are many frequencies on X-ray than microwave. So just like earlier, we will have another exercise. Can somebody read the direction of our exercise? Anyone who would like to read the direction? Anyone, class? Yes, Alice?
Choose which one has the higher frequency. Type the letter of your answer in the comments.
Again, choose between A or B, which one has higher frequency. Okay, we have already tackled that the frequency is increasing from left to right. If the wavelength kanina, yung wavelength kanina is decreasing, yung frequency naman ay increasing. So, choose between A and B. For number 1, between ultraviolet and infrared, which has a higher frequency? Yes, Jan Albert.
Sir, A.
Yes, ultraviolet. You're right. How about number 2, between microwave and gamma ray? Anyone? Yes.
B, sir.
Gamma ray, yes. Very good. Because gamma ray can be seen in the right part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Remember, Army books G. Gamma ray is in the left side of the spectrum, which has a higher frequency. Okay, number 3, between visible light and X-ray. Visible light is in the middle. X-ray is on the right part, which has higher frequency. Yes, John Albert.
Sir,
B, X-ray. Yes, you're right. X-ray has higher frequency than visible light. How about number 4, between gamma ray and X-ray? Anyone? Oh, gamma ray. Gamma ray is always on the right side. We are talking about frequency. X-ray is just beside it. But gamma ray is on the very right side. Yes. Gamma ray? Yes. The correct answer is gamma ray. Gamma ray has higher frequency than X-ray. And lastly, between infrared and microwave, which has higher frequency? Yes, Danaya.
Infrared, sir.
Yes, infrared. Because microwave is on the left side of the spectrum. So, you did great for this exercise class. So give yourself again a round of applause. Okay. Now, I want to ask you guys, how do electromagnetic waves differ? From radio waves to gamma rays, how are these electromagnetic waves different? Different electromagnetic waves carry different amount of energy. So they differ in the energy that they have. Okay, let's talk about the frequency and wavelength. These are the factors that makes electromagnetic waves different. They have different wavelengths, they have different frequencies, and also they have different energy. Each electromagnetic waves carries different electromagnetic energy. Okay, so did you understand class? For example, microwaves carry less energy than X-rays. So they have different energy. Microwaves has less energy and X-rays has higher energy. Okay. So, the amount of energy carried by an electromagnetic wave depends on the wavelength. Okay, remember this class. The shorter the wavelength, the higher the frequency. In Tagalog, habang papaliit yung wavelength ng electromagnetic wave, papalakas yung kanyang energy. Okay, tandaan natin yan. How about the wavelength? Wavelength and frequency are linked properties of a wave. The shorter wavelength, the higher its frequency. So between wavelength and frequency naman to. Kung kanina, wavelength and energy, ngayon, wavelength and frequency naman. And what is the trend? The shorter the wavelength, the higher the frequency. Understand, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That is how electromagnetic waves differ. Now, I want to ask you, class, are electromagnetic waves dangerous? What do you think? How about Mark? Are electromagnetic waves dangerous? Yes or no? What do you think? Yes or no? Mark? Oh. How about Princess? Yes. How about John?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Do you think all of them are dangerous?
No, sir.
No. Why? Because some of them are useful. We use them in our daily life. What are those? The microwaves, the radio waves. We use them for communication. Microwaves for cooking. Diba meron tayong microwave ovens?
Yes,
Doon
sir.
tayo nagluluto. So, helpful din minsan ang mga electromagnetic waves. Hindi sila lahat ay dangerous. Paano sila nagiging dangerous? Sa ating kalusugan. For example, the too much exposure to X-rays or microwaves has something to do and is dangerous to your health. Okay, that is how electromagnetic waves dangerous. Oh, remember, some electromagnetic waves are useful and some of the electromagnetic waves are dangerous. Okay, remember that, class. Okay. I want to ask you, class, what have you have learned for today's lesson? What have you learned about our discussion? Anyone? Anyone? What have you learned? Anyone? Yes, John, Albert?
Different forms of radio.
Yes, we have discussed today the different forms of EM waves. What are those properties? The frequency, the wavelength, and the energy that they carry. What else? How about the trends? From left to right, frequency is increasing. How about the wavelength? From left to right, the wavelength is decreasing. The higher the frequency, the higher the energy. The longer the wavelength, the shorter the weaker the energy it carries. Do you understand, class?
Yes, sir.
So, for your quiz, go on your cell phones, go to our group chat and I will send you the link of our quiz for today.
Hindi ba kang nakapag-
Did you receive the link, class?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
So, you have 5 minutes to answer the question. I will go back to you at 10:15. Focus class, silent.
Done, sir.
Are you all done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, very good class. You have done okay. So, for your assignment, who wants to read the direction of your assignment? Anyone, class? Yes, Elise?
How many different electromagnetic rays can you use spot in circle?
Okay, do you understand the direction of your assignment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You put your answers on a sheet of paper and submit it to me next meeting. Understood, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Sir.
Okay, if there's none, so goodbye, class.
Goodbye, sir.
Okay.